is you don't work with everybody. Not everybody that calls you says, "Hey, I'm looking to rent a space. Can you help me?" Not everybody's worth the time, the effort. You have a lot of people out there that are not serious. You have people that unfortunately maybe are not well qualified to what people are looking for. People on the MLS are searching for uh they're searching for people that have pretty decent credit, at least usually like a 620, 650 and up. Sometimes they have an absolute requirement, okay? But they're looking for that. They're looking for people that have 3 months. So you have to have first security deposit and last month's rent, or first and two deposits. But usually they're asking for 3 months. So what that means is if you're trying to work with somebody that says, "Hey, I only have 2 months," then you're gonna have a tougher time. You're gonna have a tougher time. Am I telling you not to work that? Well, there's got to be some other factors to it. Um, if you're combining, so if you're combining somebody that maybe doesn't have great credit and also doesn't have the full 3 months, it gets tough. At that point, you're getting tough. You add into that some kind of criminal history, and there's like it's impossible. Okay, they need those type of people. They need to go on Craigslist, OfferUp, and inquire directly with some kind of owner in there that maybe is renting an efficiency or renting, a unit in a multifamily house, that maybe they'll consider people like that they'll just take a month or two. But for us working with properties on the MLS with other realtors that are privately owned, we need to usually have those 3 months. I mean, I'm not gonna say sometimes they'll take 2 months, but we usually need to have those 3 months. Now sometimes you can compensate for that. So let's say your client doesn't have the 2 months, but they have good credit. Okay, I might be able to do something with that. I would add to that. Are you willing to pay? A lot of these landlords, they ask for the 2 months. Can you at least give 2 months and then maybe pay that last month over a period of 3 months? We would do stuff like that all the time. We would say, okay, hey, tenant's gonna give you first and security, and that last month's rent, they're gonna add it in three payments to their second, third, fourth month of rent. You can do stuff like that. You can break that stuff up. Everything is negotiable. Just like in sales, everything is negotiable. So you can negotiate things like that. But don't put a lot of time and effort into it. And if you're getting a lot of no's, you have to move on from it. And you have to tell the client, listen, unfortunately, the properties that I have that I deal with, they're just not accepting it. Um, and I tried, but there's nothing I can do to help. That's it. Unfortunately, we can't help everybody. So when it comes to that, ideally you want people with that has the 3 months rent, can show proof of income, that can have at least credit score in the 600s should be good enough. No criminal history. That's what you're looking for. Any criminal history you can't have with us. If there's an association, any criminal history, you're gonna get denied. Okay, you can have speeding tickets, you can have a few things like that. But any kind of criminal, something kind of serious, you get denied. I would call the association and say, hey, I have a tenant looking to rent in this community. The tenant has something in his credit report. It's a misdemeanor for 5 ounces or whatever, 5 ounces of marijuana or something like that. Is that something that you will deny him? And I would ask the association. So I did the quick call. It takes you 5 minutes to try to make that call, get a hold of them. If they tell you yes, okay, good. Then we're gonna send the offer. Let's move. Let's keep it moving. If they say no, then I gotta tell the client, hey, listen, I can't, and I can't, I don't have the time to continue to call all these associations trying to figure out if you qualify. Now, if you don't have anything else in your pipeline, then yeah, go for it. At the beginning, when I did it, when I was starting, and I had these rental leads, and this is all I had, then yeah, I had the time. I would call the associations, figure out who would approve them. At some point when my pipeline of rentals would get filled up and I don't have the time, I need to service the clients that I can, that I know that I can help. And I need to let go of those clients that I know that I won't be able to help, or that the chances are just a lot slimmer because it just takes too much time. And then I cannot service the clients that I know that I can help because I'm spending too much time on the clients that are, that have issues, that have criminal history, that generally speaking, it's very hard for us to be able to help them, put them in a place. All right. Um, so any does that make sense so far, guys? Any questions about anything that I've just said so far? All right. So before we get into the few things that I do want to show you, the last thing I do want to talk about is just kind of like having those initial conversations, pre-approving the leads, like pre-approving a rental that calls you. So when you have that call, you want to have that conversation with them. You want to say, "Hey, how are you? Um, listen, I have a few questions to ask you so I can better help you with your rental needs." Some of these questions I ask because the landlords are gonna ask me for these things. So I just have to know, is that okay if you have a few minutes, I could ask you some questions? And usually they'll say, yeah, sure. Okay. And then I'll go into the questions. I'll ask a few like, hey, the basics. Hey, what areas are you looking in? How many bedrooms and baths? Okay. Do you have any pets? That's important. And then I get into the more, I guess more financial questions. Sometimes people, they might be a little more private. I just, I start with so tell me about your income. Like, are you currently working? How much money do you bring in a month? And I let them know right away. What I'm looking for with that question is, are you working and how much money are you bringing in? And I want to know, are you W-2 or self-employed? So if you tell me, oh yeah, I work at the hospital, okay, I know you're W-2. Cool. I don't need to ask if you're W-2. I should know you work for a corporation. Oh yeah, I work for American Express. Okay, I know you're W-2. If it's not very clear, then I do like to ask, okay, are you 1099 employment, or do you get a W-2? Why? Because if they're W-2, that means they get pay stubs, which is great. That's an easy way to show income. If they're 1099, then I need to figure out, okay, how do we show income? A lot of people want 3 months of bank statements when you're 1099. They want to see 3 months of bank statements because they want to see the deposits. They want to see how much money is going into your account. If you cannot prove income, it becomes very hard for you to get approved for a rental. Okay, if you cannot prove your income, it becomes hard. Usually, people that don't get approved for a rental, usually people that are friends that have a lot of money but can't show how they make that money. Usually, those people, hey, 6 months up front, 3 months up front, 4 months up front. If you can't show me how you make your money, okay, we're gonna have to do 6 months. And usually if they're those people, they're cool. They're like, yeah, I got you. 6 months up front, no problem. Okay, cool. Hey landlord, I have a tenant, no criminal history, good credit. I can't show you how he makes his income, but he's willing to do 6 months up front. Oh, what does he do for a living? Well, he's self-employed, but he just doesn't ever report. He doesn't report. You know how it is. A lot of people don't report their income. It's South Florida, very common. Or you come up with something that they do. That sounds good. Obviously, if your client is like a drug dealer or something, you don't want to tell them that, that that's what they do, you know? So you want to make sure you let people know, hey, they're self-employed, they make their money, uh they're in waste management or something. They own a business, but it's a all cash business. All cash business. They don't deposit, they don't make deposits, but he can give you 6 months up front. Most landlords, if you got good credit, no background issues, a lot of times they'll take that. They'll say, okay, cool. I will. You tell a landlord, I'm gonna give you 6 months up front plus a security deposit. Yeah, okay, cool. I'm all in for that. You know, sometimes they might want to meet them and things like that. But proof of income, guys, that's very important to be able to show. Okay. Um, After that, again, I say, okay, so great, the income sounds good. Let me ask you, and again, I only ask you this because the landlord's gonna ask me, what's your credit like? Have you checked it recently? And I just see what they tell me. Sometimes they know, oh yeah, I have I just checked it. I have Credit Karma. I see it through my bank account or something. And they tell you what their credit score is. If they tell me something good, 600, 650, 680, it's 700. Oh, that's great. That's exactly, what they're looking for. If they tell me something in the 500s, I'm very honest. I'll be like, oh, okay, well, listen, usually a lot of the properties we work with, they're usually looking for like 625, 650 and higher. So something in the 500s might be very tough to get approved, but I can always ask. We can always try and see what they say and keep it moving. Next question. Let me ask you: do you have any criminal history, anything like that would show up on your like if they ran a criminal history check, anything like that would show up and see what they say? And I always tell them in that point, especially if the properties if I know they want an apartment or something like that, I always add to that. The association is going to run your background, and usually these associations, 99% of them, they deny for anything, any kind of misdemeanor, conviction in the past, they just deny you automatically. So I always ask about that. So the financials, which is basically pay stubs, credit, and your background. After that, usually I ask, when are you looking to move in? By when are you looking to move in? And then after that, and typically you want to hear somebody soon. You want to hopefully in the next 30 days, hopefully maybe in a month and a half, 2 months, okay. Somebody that wants to move 3 months, 4 months, like that's too far out. Usually nothing on the MLS is sitting there because they want to rent it in 3, 4 months. Usually everything is like immediately they want somebody now or they want somebody in the first of the upcoming month. So you can't send the landlord an offer saying like today, it's August 20th. You cannot send the landlord an offer saying, hey, your place is available already, but I want my tenant to move in November 1st. They're gonna deny it. They're gonna say no. I'm looking for somebody sooner. Even October 1st, they might say no. I'm trying to find somebody for September 1st. Okay.
I
If
just
I'm a landlord,
went
I might
through this.
sit there and say, huh?
I just went through this because my client is wants to live out his last month in September because he
Hmm?
paid his current lease. They didn't accept it because he wanted to live out his last month September and move in October. The deal fell through because of that.
Wait, repeat it again. But explain to me again. He's living where he's living.
And he already paid August, so he's gonna live
Okay.
out his, when you move in you do 3 months, the first, the last, the deposit. So he's gonna
Right.
live out September.
Okay, that's the last. Okay.
That's the last, and so he wanted to start his lease October 1st. And
Right. Oh, and
they said no.
yep,
The deal
because
fell.
so if that prop is so it's a property on the MLS.
Yep.
Okay, if that property is still available, go back around the 27th, the 28th. If it's still there active, call the realtor back. Hey, my clients,
Yeah.
because obviously at that point they didn't find somebody for the first. So then at that point, maybe you can call back. Hey, my client's still interested for October 1st. It's still active. Will they consider it now?
Yep. Yep. So
So
yeah, that's the game plan. But it's crazy you say that because it has an HOA. So you would think that by the time it's approved by HOA and all of that, it's mid September. But yeah, they were willing to let the deal fall through, even with a
yeah,
good candidate.
probably because they might have somebody for the first, or they're really trying to push for the first.
Yeah.
They still got 10 days. Maybe that association can approve somebody. But I will call back probably the 25th, 26th, say, hey, my client's still interested. at what time, what day has to come that your client will say, okay, yeah, I'll take somebody for October 1st, which
Okay.
that should be early September. Like that's it. Early September. If they still don't got nobody, they should be okay saying, okay, you know what? Let's just go with this guy for October 1st.
Yeah.
So yeah. And the last question, guys, you ask is if they have 3 months. Always ask, do you have 3 months rent? Okay. Now, before we move forward, I do like to bring up because I know some of you guys love converting these renters into buyers. If they tell you they got 3 months and it's like, let's just say it's like a $4,000, $5,000 rental, $3,000 rental. They have good income. Oh yeah, I make, 120 a year, 100, whatever I make. Oh, between me and my husband, we make X amount. And they have good credit. They tell you, oh yeah, my credit's in the 650, 680, 700. And I've heard you guys at the office. Sometimes I'll hear you guys talking to these renters, and I'll hear, let me ask you a question. So why don't you buy? Why don't you look into purchasing? And you can see what they say. I know. Let me ask, Priscilla, you're on the call. How do you handle that? Because I know you've done that at least, I don't know, I at least 5 times. I feel like you've successfully converted a renter into a buyer and closed them as a buyer. So can you share a little bit about your experience with how you had that conversation initially with them and how you sort of convert them into buyers and end up, how do you make them see that? How do you make somebody go from I'm looking to rent to all of a sudden, oh, I'm gonna buy? Okay, I'll buy. How do you kind of go through that process?
I just show them the numbers. People like seeing things in black and white, the budgeting, and I just go over the pros and cons of renting, the
But how do
long
you
term.
how do you start? Like, what is it that like you literally just ask the question in that initial call, have you considered buying?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, why not?
and what do
I
they
so
usually
I
tell you?
so I asked I tip so it typically goes like, hey, how are you? Okay, blah blah blah. What's your budget for the rent? So, oh, it's 25, it's 27, it's 35. Okay, that's a mortgage payment right there. Why haven't you how much do you have savings? Do you have your 3 months? For the most part, they always have their 3 months or 4 months, or they have a good amount of savings. So I'll tell them, okay, why haven't you considered buying? So
And what do
we'll
they
get
typically
into that
say?
because sometimes they're scared, or because el hermano del primo was trying to buy, pudo comprar, and then it's always a lack of knowledge, a lack of education, or the fact that they just think they can because they have too much debt, and it's like, listen, this is what we can do, and then I just kind of walk them through the process, and I tell them they're gonna ask for less documentation than when you are going to rent, because when you're renting, they're asking you for a background check. They're asking you hasta calzones, even the underwear that you're wearing. When you're buying, they're looking at your financials, but they just want to make sure that you have enough money to support the mortgage payments that you're going to be making. If you can pay your rental payments and never miss a beat, why would you not pay your mortgage?
Yeah.
So I sit down and I have those conversations with them, and once the numbers make sense with them, I sit them down with the lender. I'm like, look, and this is not an obligation, just try. Sit down with our team, see what you qualify for. And if the numbers make sense, then we'll go that route. We can keep looking for rentals, but let's try to see if you can buy. And then typically when they see that the numbers make more sense in the long run, I show them comps, how the areas they're building equity, or they're walking in with instant equity. That normally just flips the switch for them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, think about it. You're paying 3,000 a month. So a year was that 36,000?
Hmm.
Yeah. 36,000 a year in rent, or you want to throw 36,000 at a mortgage. And I think most people kind of rationalize and like, oh, yeah, I
And
see
I
what you.
tell them, yeah, I tell them, I was like, make yourself look like if you're literally taking the money out of your wallet or from your pocket, you're crumbling it up and you're throwing it in the garbage can. That is
Yeah.
what you're doing when you rent. And they look at me and they're like, all right, bro, let's try. So,
Yeah, so for some people it definitely makes sense. So guys, what I really, and I agree with what Priscilla said, and I was looking for that when I was asking her that. Why is it that they don't even think to buy? A lot of times it's just the lack of knowledge, guys. You'd be surprised. You would be surprised that they've heard things or and whatever, or maybe they just feel like they don't have enough money. Guess what? There's down payment assistance programs. Oh, I only have 12,000. I only have 10,000. I've heard I need more to buy a house. Oh, well, have you heard of Hometown Heroes that can give you up to 35,000? Have you heard of, whatever the other one is called that gives you, I think, 10,000? So there's a lot of stuff like that that can help them out too. So it's always worth it. And if it's not, if it doesn't work out, at least you know what, you leave the client feeling like you cared, you listened, and you were trying to show them a better option. And you'll make them realize that that's still a better option. And guess what? Now all of a sudden they have a goal that they want to buy in a year. Now they have a goal that, hey, I do want to buy it. I want to own. You make what you said makes sense. I want to own. I obviously, for whatever, I can't qualify right now, but I want to get everything ready so in a year I can call you back and buy. And that I've seen that I've had that conversation numerous times.
Mhm.
And that's a great feeling when you got a deal, you got a rental, and something's coming up next year. They're gonna want to buy, and more than likely those people are gonna refer you business too because you took the time to educate them and explore a better option. Okay.
And it just, again, guys, they look at us as the professionals, as the experts of the market. So you need to get creative too and let them know, like, hey, let's look at this. There's no pressure, there's no obligation. But if it just makes more financial sense and you're walking them through it, most of the times, if they're not ready now, it's okay. You tell them, hey, if you can't do it now, it's okay. We're gonna get you ready for the next year while you're rented. I'm not gonna find you something comfortable. So don't think I'm gonna show you where you're gonna want to stay for 3 years, because I'm not doing that. I'm gonna show you things where you're gonna be uncomfortable and you're gonna want to get into your own house faster. But we're gonna get ready. So in 6 months in your lease, I'm gonna be calling you so that we can get ready. And that's how I've been able to convert also the other renters that didn't get to buy at that moment, but they did buy a year after.
Awesome. Awesome. Good stuff. All right, guys. All right. So let's shift into how do we become more efficient? How do we make life easier on ourselves? Because I feel like that's why a lot of agents, they don't like rentals. They're like, oh, it's too much work, all these things. And I wish I could get into everything, but I'm gonna try to go over the biggest things. All right. So number one, let me share my screen here. Mm. All right. So the first thing that I want to show you is how you can provide this rental checklist. So this was pre-created this about, I don't know, I want to say it was like 2 years ago. She created this checklist, and because she found out that it was like, man, I gotta keep telling these people every single time. I gotta explain what do they need, what documents, and I would have to send this. I have to write a text every time. So she created this document that you can download either as an image or a PDF in English and Spanish. I'm gonna share this with you so that you can open it through Canva. So after this training, I'm gonna email it to everybody. Okay. You're gonna be able to open this on Canva and edit this. But what basically does this do? Well, you have an interested client, you tell them, hey, I'm gonna send you the list of documents that we need. All right. And it tells them copy of ID, last 3 pay stubs, last 3 bank statements of self-employed, credit report, background report, rental application, first and last month rent plus security deposit. Okay, then it has some information here. And by the way, on Canva, you can edit the links on here so that it'll go to your social media channels. Why do we put that there? Because there's a lot of scams out there. There's a lot of people getting scammed with rental deposits and things like that. So we want to put all this so that people can see, like, you can find me on the internet. Like, I'm a real estate agent. I do this. You can see that I promote myself, and it creates confidence in the tenant that you're not scamming them or anything like that. All right. So we have it in English and Spanish. And I just find that this works really well. You can send it out to the client. Now, there are most clients. I want to be clear about credit report, background, and rental application. Most clients can, some client, not most, some can provide you with their credit report. They can't always all provide you with a background report. A lot of people don't have access to that. But some do. You know, sometimes you do have some people that do have it. Or maybe they did another rental not too long, or they were trying to apply for another rental and they have it. So I always just send this to them, even if I don't know if they have it or not. You know, I just send this to them. But usually they'll tell me, hey, so about my credit report and background, how do I get that? And then that's when I say, okay, well, it's up to you if you have access to provide it. Okay. Or, I do provide I come pull the reports for you. It's an expense. It does cost $40, but I come pull those reports for you. Okay. So the way it works is, and I know you guys might have a few different things for this, but I recommend, and no, I closed it. Sorry, 1 second.
While you're looking for that, and this, when you provide that list, it also shows how serious the tenant is and how fast they're willing to move forward. So you already know, okay, they're sending me all these documents. Okay, I'm not gonna waste my time, because if they don't even want to send you this documentation up front, you're essentially wasting your time, because you're not gonna be ready for the time that it comes to show that you're gonna submit your offers.
Yeah, now there's no order. You don't have to get this at the beginning. You don't have to get this before you show them. You can get it before, during, or after. But if they're already sending you their documents before you, maybe you even show them a property, then you know they're very serious. So it is a way to definitely filter out people who are not that serious, or or are gonna waste your time. Definitely. All right, guys. So before hold on, there's something else important that I need to get to. Some of you guys already know about this. But before I get into how to pull background and credit, forewarn guys, make sure when it comes to rentals, you can use this for anything really, but especially when it comes to rentals, if you're not, if you this is a way to look up people, okay? This is a way to look up people, look up their information, who they are, verify that people are who they say they are. So I forgot what information you pull from this. Let me see. I have to activate it. I should already be active. It's gonna tell me that I gotta set up and everything. But forewarn guys, it's a way to verify people's background. I think you can put people's names on there or their phone number. If I don't know if Priscilla, do you remember how that goes exactly on forewarn? Is it their phone
Yeah,
number that you
yeah,
put?
you just put their phone number and it shows you all the speeding tickets that they have. And if they have any background, any criminals, any list pending, any
Properties, where they,
foreclosures.
I think it gives you their addresses
It
too.
gives you the cars that they drive, there any so with that phone number, anyone that's associated to that person or has been associated to that number, it tells you the names of the people, it tells you the addresses that it's associated with, the cars, criminal record, speeding tickets and things like that, and the cars.
Yeah, yeah. So, um, so yeah, forewarn guys, use that, and that's gonna be that's gonna be very useful. Somebody calls you, they call you out of the blue, you don't know who they are, they weren't referred to you, and they want a rental. You could always look them up and forewarn. You could really look up any phone number out there, throw it for a test drive. Don't abuse it, but throw it for a test drive. Put your cousin, put your sister, see how the reports show up, and you'll see that you put their phone number and a lot of data pops up on them. All right. I'm gonna stop recording because if I this part right here, guys, if I don't stop recording when I put this on YouTube for people to watch in the future, it's gonna take it down when I show this part. So I'm gonna stop recording 1 quick second. Pause recording. I'm gonna All right, if you're watching this video after, I'm recording again because I couldn't record the previous sections about rent spree and forewarn because YouTube will take the video down pretty much. I got to figure out a way to like hide all that information so I could record a video on how to do that. But I recorded like 3 videos already trying to show rent spree and how to go through it, and every time YouTube takes it down. So I gotta look for like another video service to upload that. Anyhow, so where was I? I was gonna jump into a good point. Um, I forgot what I was gonna jump into. What was I saying? Anybody? Are you guys still with me? Are you guys listening?
I'm
I'm
here.
I'm gonna send you guys. I'm gonna send you guys the rest of the stuff. Okay. Um, what I want to the other thing is just with rentals, guys, is just remember not everybody is worth working with. Screen your tenants. Screen the people that you work with, that you're working with. Don't force it if they seem. I got to the point where working with rentals that they have to have everything. They got to have the 3 months. They have to have good credit, no background. If you had all those three, I got you. I'll work with you. I'll look around. Okay. Also, guys, don't when another red flag when working with renters is when they're looking all over the place. That's another red flag. Oh, I remember now what I was gonna go into. But before I go into that, that's a red flag when they wanted out. Where are you looking for rent? Well, I'm thinking, either Hialeah or Sunrise, or Hialeah and Pompano, or Hollywood or Doral, and then it's too much. It's a lot of driving. It's up to you guys. It's your business decision what to do with that. But I like it when people just want to in an area. So I know I'm looking in that area, and that's where I'm gonna drive to, and that's where I'm gonna look. Okay. And the idea with rentals is typically try to keep it within a 15-minute drive, maybe 20 most. You don't want to be driving half hour, 45 minutes. Now, I don't know if the client is, I don't know, Ricky Martin's makeup artist, you know, maybe you want to drive extra to show a rental to Ricky Martin's makeup artist. And that's actually a true story. We had an agent that was the realtor for Ricky, the person who does the makeup for Ricky Martin while they are on concerts or whatever. So I was like, well, so they're obviously we're here in Miami Lakes, and the client was looking for a rental down in the Palmetto Bay, Cutler Bay area. And she was like, normally I wouldn't go over there show a rental, but this is Ricky Martin's makeup artist. Like, I want to, that's a good connection to have. I want to make sure I don't lose that relationship. Okay, cool. So you got to make those business decisions and decide what do you feel is worth it. Okay, for you. So I wanted to talk about rentals off of the MLS. Okay. So sometimes you guys are like, hey, I looked at the MLS and everything is taken. There's nothing available. This would have to be a totally separate training, but at least let me give you the guidance of where you can go. Um, so the good thing about these are buildings that one person owns the entire building. And it's an apartment building essentially. So these are buildings that like One Plantation or like 6600 Main and Main Street owned by the Grahams. It's a property owned by the Grahams. They do rents. Sometimes those buildings pay commission. All right. But then you got to wonder, well, how do I find those buildings? And a lot of times they're good because they don't require first deposit and last. They only require first month and deposit. So I won't get too deep into this, but I'll just show you like, hey, this is a starting point for that. And it's this system here called Rental Beast. Okay. So in Rental Beast, you can search for properties that are for rent on the MLS and properties that are for rent off the MLS that you won't see on Matrix. So if you exhausted all your options on Matrix, or if you're trying to find maybe a building that gives you a commission, though, by the way, they only put properties here when I spoke to them, because I spoke to them at a they were sponsoring some event. I forgot. I want to say it was either early this year, late last year. They were I think it was one of these it was the association, the Miami Association of Realtors does an event where at the Hard Rock, and I spoke to Rental Beast there, and they said the properties off the MLS that we show, we screen them to make sure that they're paying commission for realtors. So I was like, okay, cool. So the properties there, so the reason I tell you that is because that's another resource you have to potentially make a commission and be able to find the client a property that only takes first and security deposit and doesn't ask for third. Now the thing about those buildings, they're usually more expensive. They usually are a little more expensive than what you'd find on the MLS. Sometimes maybe not, maybe similar. Okay, depends. Maybe they're having specials or their rents are a little lower. But Rental Beast is a great way to find some additional inventory for your clients. See some messages here on the chat. Deposit link is on the dashboard. So deposit link, let me know when you want to use it. I need to create an account. So I just want to make sure you're aware of it. It's not on any dashboard right now. It is going to be on a dashboard of a new system that we have coming soon, which is coming up like in about a week, guys. I'm going to introduce a new system that you're all going to have access to, and you're going to have a nice dashboard with links to a lot of the systems that we use. So it's going to be like a little hub with a lot of resources, a lot of the training videos, and I'm about to release. I haven't mentioned it because usually when I have a new program, a new system, I give you guys a few weeks heads up. I didn't want to do that this time, but I'm gonna mention it now for the first time. We do have a really great system coming up now that within a week, I would say by next week Monday, we're gonna put it out there. And it's gonna have on that dashboard, there's gonna be a link to the deposit link, but you can't log in until you have an account. So if you don't have an account, just text me and I'll create the account. And it's a very simple system to use. Okay, guys, any takeaways? Any thoughts? Anything else anybody want to share? Juju, I see you looking. You want to say something?
No, I mean I had to log off unfortunately and then log back in, but the rental beast thing, which I think I came on a good time, actually is interesting.
Yeah, do the Rental Beast. By the way, Rental Beast also, you can, if you want to pay for rental leads, they pay, you can get some leads there. If you get really good with the rentals and you keep it to a specific area, the strategy, listen guys, I would make on a good month about 12 to 15,000 a month on rentals. Okay? But and back then it was half a month also. It was half a month commission. And the rents were less. Rentals were cheaper back in 2015, 2016. And the reason I would do that is because I would use a system called Rent Juice, which now you could use Rental Beast, pay for those leads. But the key would be that I would stick to Miami Lakes pretty much. I didn't show rentals. Sometimes I would make exceptions. I'm not gonna say that I would never make exceptions, but for the most part, I would show rentals in Miami Lakes. I would go to the Moors, Antigua, um, the condos there. I forgot their names. Coral Gate, I think is the name of those condos that don't have the washer and dry right there on Miami Gardens Drive. Before the Los Verdes, those tall buildings there. I think they're called Coral East or something. Those I would rent there a lot. So I would stick to the same area. That was the key. That was the key to doing rentals efficiently and doing more of them. Not at 5 o'clock, I'm driving to Miami Lakes, and at 6 I got one in Hollywood, and at 7 I got one in Weston. Like that. That wasn't it. It was just, hey, I'm advertising all the rentals within 5 to 10 minutes of each other. So when people hit me up for these rentals, I just show them within right here, and the office was right there. So that was the key. It's just not driving too far and sticking around and screening the tenants well. So you could also buy rental leads from RentBee. So if you guys you want to dive into rentals, you want to see a good return, you feel like you have a good system that's going to be very efficient, call them, figure out how much they sell rental leads for. It's a lot cheaper than buyer leads. I think the last time I remember it was like around 300, 400 a month for, I don't know, I want to say maybe 30 to 60 leads. So it's something around that range, from what I remember. So something to consider for sure. All right. Uh, any other questions, guys?
Is there anywhere else that I could find rental leads other than Rental Beast?
I believe apartments.com and hotpads. Look up hotpads.com. I believe they also might offer some sort of agent, like they collaborate with a realtor where you can pay for leads. As far as free leads, nothing, just social media, Facebook Marketplace. We used to have
I
ways
don't
to
know.
get.
I'm not so sure about Facebook anymore.
I know, I know. There's it's a lot of scams, a lot of stuff. I see everybody's faces.
Yeah.
I see Juju.
But
I
I
see
did
people.
get like um for houses that have like expired, I did get um like access to Arc Agent. I haven't done anything with it yet, but I'm more comfortable with the rentals right now since I'm
Okay.
just starting.
What is the system? What is the system for expired that you mentioned?
It's called Arc Agent.
Okay. Arc, like ARK?
ARCH. Like an
Oh, okay.
archive.
Okay. Arc agent. I never heard of it. I never heard of it, but you have access to it.
That's one
You
to look
give it a
into.
shot?
Yeah. It's just
Okay.
it's straight. It's only expires, and I think it's like $60 a month. It's pretty good. I mean, I
Okay.
haven't physically like called anybody just because like I'm still like I found a script and I'm kind of just like learning it. So I know what I'm talking about and I just don't go based off of like the top of my head and say something that I'm not supposed to. But yeah, they give you a list a month every month and it's only $60. It's really not bad.
Okay. All right. I like that. I like that. I never heard of that system, but that sounds good. Listen,
Is
I'm
it
gonna give you some
60?
advice.
Sorry, Vic.
What?
Is it 60 a month or 60 like the year?
Hmm?
It's
No.
$60 a month.
Okay.
Listen, I'm gonna give you some advice. Don't worry about saying the wrong thing. Just go through it. The faster you mess up, the quicker you learn. The faster you mess up, the quicker you learn. So I'm
Yeah,
sure
I
you've heard
know.
that advice. I'm sure you know and you've heard it, but
Yeah.
it's the agents that just dive into it and like I don't, you know. So don't wait for the perfect conditions, man. Perfection is the enemy of progress. So just keep that in mind.
Okay. Thank
Um,
you.
if there's any, and then, so for rentals, yeah, rental bees, apartments.com, hot pads, but I really like rental bees. These guys, since they're newer, rental bees is probably like 2, 3 years old, and they're really going deep into the rental leads and things like that. So if you feel comfortable with rental leads, look into them, call them. It doesn't hurt you to schedule a demo with them, schedule a 30-minute demo. Talk to them. Hey, what do you guys offer? How are the leads? What's the quality of the leads? How much does it cost? And then at least you have the knowledge and you can decide if you want to do it or not. But I would definitely do that. And then look into hotpads.com and look into apartments.com. See if they also have some sort of lead generation for realtors where you can pay for leads. And how is it? Like, how do they do it? Like, where are the leads coming from? Ideally, Andrea, wherever you live, you want to get leads in that area. You don't necessarily want to be driving. You know, when I started doing rentals, I remember we were all there was like a little like let's call it my freshman class, like my group of realtors, and we were all doing rentals, and everybody was like, "No, bro, I don't want to do rentals here in Miami Lakes. I want to go to Brickell. I want to go to this. I want to go to that." And I was like, "You know what? Yeah, I do. The same. Why are we doing rentals here? Let's go through the $1 million high luxury rentals." I got a rental lead in Brickell. Yeah, when do you want to see the property? Oh, I want to see the property at 6:30. Perfect. I'll be there. The first time that I had to drive from Miami Lakes to Brickell at 5:30 to be there at 6:30, that was when like, yeah, no, this is not the way. Like You know, you can do it once or twice, but when you're doing that all the time, every day, it's too much. Oh, and then in the morning, go back in the. Oh, I got somebody who wants to see it at 9 a.m. Oh, I gotta drive in the morning now to Brickell. So it became really, really inefficient, basically. So keep that in mind too. All right, guys. Thank you for showing up. Tomorrow we have another training about negotiations. Really want to, go into like how we negotiate, not just with the other listing agent, but how we negotiate with our clients. Right now, there's a lot of that. Right now, there's a lot of, now we're not just negotiating with the other side of the deal, but we're negotiating with our clients about price drops and submitting offers and credits and things like that. So it's going to be a negotiation class. It's going to be a little interactive. I have some cool scenarios where I'm going to show you, hey, this is a real life scenario. How do you handle this? So show up to that tomorrow at 11. I think it'll be really, really good, and you'll get a lot of value out of it, and then we'll keep it rolling. So guys, I really want to continue building this culture of training, culture of learning, where we're constantly learning, we're constantly growing, we're constantly pushing ourselves to be better. So just keep showing up. Come to me for whatever you need. I know some of you guys. I know Andrea, you reached out. I'm gonna get back to you. See if we can schedule a time to sit down, because we definitely got to sit down and see like where we can go to like continue to grow and level up your business. Because you closed your first deal, so you already broke the ice with that first transaction. Now it's like let's keep it moving. Let's see how we continue to grow from there. So let's continue to build that culture of training. I'm here for it. I'm loving it. And we'll keep doing this every week, and we'll just get better every single day. All right, guys? So thank you. Appreciate you guys. And
Thank
I'm going to
you.
email you guys
Thank you,
later
Vic.
the stuff I talked about. Okay?
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Have
All
a
right,
great
bye.
day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Same, bye.